Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is and peace out to the rest of you. The blackest hearted, blackest minded, blackest man on social media signing black in and shining again, asking you to hit the further mark and share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So let me go ahead and get this out right quick. Here's the deal, y'all. I'm just catching up right now because I've gone days where every single time I get ready to record something, I get interrupted. And that's all the hell that's been happening lately. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm in a pretty bad mood at this point because their interruptions never stop. And I don't even know if they ever will without me knocking somebody the fuck out. But in any case, catching up a little bit, I've been silent on a lot of things, but that's largely because my opinions on them ain't that deep and ain't that important. If you ask me what I think about Michaela Pink, I don't really feel a guck. I mean, she left the family to go so-called live her best life. And, well, okay, if money is everything to her, that's what the hell happens. At some point, you're just going to have to start, you're just going to have to curb. As a matter of fact, I would tell women, your materialism is less legitimate than men's sexual perversions. Absolutely. It's more important for you to curb your materialism than it is for a man to curb his libido. And men have to curb their libidos now, even to an unnaturally low level. It must be done for the sake of survival. Because they'll say, well, men don't know how to handle their libidos. It's a libido. You're the one that doesn't know how to handle a man's libido or your own. That's what that comes down to. So the best drug right now that somebody can come up with is something that will lower the sexual appetite with as few side effects as possible. And that's in all honesty. But Michaela Pink gave into the materialism, and there you go. Okay, so I guess that means she was going to... okay, next thing. If you were going to ask me, well, what do you think about Patrick Mahomes? I don't really know much about it. I don't keep up with football. What I do know is that Patrick Mahomes, his blackness is already debated and questioned anyway. So... I would say, well, if you have any black blood, why marry a white woman? Because your black blood, whatever the quantum is, whether you are black or biracial or whether they're not mutually exclusive or not, you can argue all you want. You're going to have white in-laws, and they have a bigger issue with black blood than anybody else does. And that's real. I mean, I don't see why we haven't learned that the issue here, we keep talking about black women versus white women. That type of dichotomy right then and there is something that only serves the interest of people who want us gone, or people who want a race war. Because, again, like Edward Anderson said, the biggest competition for black women trying to get black men is not the white woman, it's the Latina. And the Afro-Latina at that. Stop and think about this. Knowing who I am, do you think I can walk into my house and be alone with a woman with blue eyes and blonde hair? Man, I would panic. Because to me, that's the signal that you about to get it. To me, that's a scary signal. I know what's coming. All I can think is, I mean, let's say that she's actually an Eastern European Muslima who's not a threat. That's fine. Keep the hijab on. Now imagine me only being able to get it up if she has a hijab on. Take everything else off, keep the hijab on. And if your eyes are blue, put in some dark contact lens or something. Because the actual threat to black men historically, and I'm not saying this to make the sisters happy, but the actual threat to black men historically has not been other women of color per se. It has been that mayonnaise mafiosa. That's the one that's programmed to not only take your money, but get your butt in trouble. You can ask Richard Pryor. He said my wife paid her dues because for 6 years he must have thought her name was White Honky B-Word. And then when it was time for the divorce, he said she went and got her hair done, pigtails and everything, looking like she was 8 years old, telling the judge, and Your Honor, he did this and that, and now she won half and she ain't told near a joke. They will weaponize their whiteness with the system against you. And despite the fact that the society will say to them, you can't come back over here and get a man, they still will weaponize their whiteness in the court. And if you're Muslim and you black, oh my God, you know what's coming next. Hell, if you just Muslim and you ain't black, it's going to happen. I know because it's been done to many men before. See, for all these stories about this sister got abused by this man and used by that man and everything else, there are a whole lot of stories about Muslim men, black and non-black alike, that have been taken to the cleaners in these Western courts by their Muslim wives who turned feminists or were feminists. Y'all know my buddy from Malaysia? I'm not going to tell y'all his name, but my man's in Malaysia. Real good dude. May Allah bless him. He's trying to find a way in a restricted economy due to COVID to make money for a lady he intends to marry soon. She's tripping because she ain't heard from him as much. They ain't married yet. She ain't got to. They done worked out the terms of the marriage. The issue only is that the marriage itself has been put on hold because of COVID, or rather, the ceremony. Now, even to go in and just get it legally done, even that, well, that's a problem. Because they got to make appointments, so they got to wait, through no fault of theirs. But she tripping because she ain't heard from him as much. Hold up. The man's working late. He's working through the night, because that's where the money is. That man's driving, and he's driving food deliveries, too, to try to save up something to make ends meet, to give her a good life. He ain't saving it up for himself. He's saving it up for him and her, trying to give her a good life, and she tripping because she ain't heard from him, even though they ain't yet married. I had a talk with him, and the man told me, yeah, man, feminism probably is that bad out here. I came to realize from him and from one of my colleagues that works here with me in the Gulf that feminism's it's fresh out of control in KL. I don't know about the provinces, but apparently it ain't much better there. So now, what I've told you, you may have to write Malaysia off the list. Or at least just write it off as a place you can just simply go to and avoid feminism. You may have to start going into some more remote areas. Or you may have to screen. Maybe you could go there and screen out the feminist and find them. Whereas in the West, you screen out the feminists. You screen out everybody. But that's what's going on out there, man. And that's what he's facing. A good dude. Man gave up smoking, got closer to his Lord, and this is what's out there for him. One who probably cheated. Didn't try to win him back when he said, wait a minute, hold up. No, this ain't gonna work. And when I say cheated, they weren't married, but she cheated by her own standards. A second one, a nicer feminist, who probably would have never given him a shot if she had not already been a single mother with a tattoo. Nice person. She cool with me, she cool with my wife. But let's call this what it is. She know doggone well he ain't been married and ain't got his own kids. Now, I don't like men like that. I like men like buddies, like this buddy of mine. I'm not gonna marry him and it ain't his fault, but you know, I'm hetero and he hetero. But according to women, this is a handsome guy. But this is what's out there for him. He's not no Clark Kent. He's not a weak, mild. I mean, he's a mild-mannered man with mild-mannered people. Sure, he's not a nice guy, but he's not a weak man at all. He can tell you could be the richest foreigner over there in KL. You get loud, he'll tell you, say, bro, you too loud. He's one of them cats. This man kicks Arabs out of his car when they get to lighting up cigarettes. When he's doing the ride share, and he says, he'll pull over and say, out. Chop, chop, bro. Fit the guck out of my car with that cigarette, because I got other customers. And you know Arabs, especially Gulf Arabs. Their hospitality is excellent, but their understanding of manners and things like that, oh no, to them everybody smokes. They don't think from other people's perspective that well. That's why they got excellent hospitality, but they'll irritate the hell out you even with the hospitality because they don't give a guck about other people's rights. I'm talking about them Bedouins. That's how they act. And an Arab that smokes, oh man, you ain't gonna tell that nigga nothing. So he's one of them cats. Now, you know, Malaysians and Indonesians and Filipinos are very mild-mannered. They don't just start anything with anybody for no reason, but if you get bouted with them, they get double bouted with you. You can ask Daryl Hodges or Darren Hodges, I think. He's one that travels around Southeast Asia. He told you, Filipinos are very sweet people. But if you start a fight with one of them, the others are coming out with machetes and they will uck you up. Thailand, they're not a mean set of people at all. But a Chinese man killed a Chinese prostitute. The police took him to the top of a building and threw him off. Gave him free flying lessons. He didn't survive it, though. Yeah, this is Thai police with a Chinese citizen. They're like, they're looking at China in the face like, man, what the walk you gonna do, ninja? So that's what we're dealing with here. Feminism is the damn problem. So, with all due respect, Minister Jap, feminism is the problem. It's not dudes being lame because they ain't got no game and going abroad and tricking. That's the problem. The problem is feminism and the Western B word, the wicked witch of the West. That is the problem. It always has been, sir. It's not dark-skinned women. It's not light-skinned women. It's Western broads who are feminists, who are misandrists, Mr. Jap. I'm not saying this because I hate you. But Adam IBMOR was correct and you were wrong in that debate. End of. I found this stuff by accident. I'm over here living in the Gulf. Didn't come here looking for women. I was married at the time. Miserably, but married. I wound up finding 2 good women. Black women from the continent. They're not Western. One actually spent part of her childhood in the West and didn't pick up all this stuff. If I can find this accidentally, sir, what do you think other men can find when they're actually looking for a wife? You got dudes that go to these places to trick. That's true, yes. But you're like, man, if you game tight, there's no such thing as game, Minister Jap. There's bad game, sure, but there's no such thing as good game. You're pre-selected, sir. I'm glad you are. You have the means to not screw it up, but the fact is, Minister Jap, the same things that you say to women that work in your favor will work to the disfavor of a man they've already pre-rejected and not pre-selected. You've shown that you can get them, and that's good. Okay, fine. That means you got options. To me, as a Muslim, it means you have options in who you can marry too. That's what that means. But instead, what I'm finding is you sitting up here telling guys who do travel that they lame. Not because tricking's wrong, morally speaking, or religiously speaking. It's not that. It's simply because they can't get a first world broad. Sir, nobody can get a feminist. That's the whole point. And the ones who can get a feminist can't keep them. And you ain't trying to keep them. That's how you... But if you tried to keep these feminist broads in the West, if you tried to keep them, Minister Jap, you'd see what we're talking about. You just ain't trying to keep them. You're trying to get them, and they want you, and they'll take that. But you also got to keep in mind, Minister Jap, while you may use protection, the fact is that if you did not use protection, they would have your babies and then try to get another man to take care of them. And you probably, because of your own morals, would not want that, but that's what they would resort to if they could. You're the kind of guy that would only go after for child support if they can't get nobody else to take care of them babies. Now, granted, they would do it. But the thing is, you expose the feminists to us. You expose the wicked witch of the West even when she don't call herself a feminist. You showed us how these unattainable women to most of us, most normal men, are trifling when you really get to know them, when you really get inside of them, all puns intended. You showed us that. Thank you, sir. That's a big help. But that's exactly why you're the type of man who deserves an audience, sir. Not necessarily a following, but an audience. Because people can learn from you. But they can't always reach your same conclusions based on the same things. Because what you observe and honestly report on, well, you know what? That's going to lead to other conclusions for most people. The Dominican, the Brazilian, you can go there and you can find the ones off whom you can trick. You can find the ones that are not working girls like that and their girlfriends or their wives, whichever one. Men go there for all of these things, sir. That's what these men go there for. And men find all of them. I know a Muslim who can go to the Dominican Republic if he wants, and he can go to the masjid, talk to an imam, meet women, discuss marriage, and pick a wife. No tricking, no fornication. There's no guarantee she's not going to try to take them to the cleaners. It depends on where they stay, but the point I'm making is that he can go there, and if he wants to trick, he can do it. He can also go and find a wife. That's the thing that's going to happen. It can happen. And it's the same with Mr. Samuels. So Mr. Samuels got up and said about MGTOW, well, show me a successful, notorious, famous man in his field that claims MGTOW and not someone y'all want to adopt. Do you think that Leo DiCaprio would be Leo DiCaprio if he said he was MGTOW? Henry Cavill didn't even say it was MGTOW. He just said men got to be careful, and look what the hell happened to him. The one that played Superman, I'm probably mispronouncing his last name, but look what happened to him. He doesn't get to keep his roles. He doesn't get to keep the preference that he has. Now, it's not allowed. The preference that he had for certain roles, gone now. Don't nobody want him to play nothing. Don't nobody want to cast him in anything. It's not his fault. He simply said to men, you got to be careful out there. And marriage is it's a losing proposition for you. He didn't have to say anything else. All of a sudden, he's all kind of misogynist and everything. So, no, bro. If we just going to be honest about this mess, it's a losing game. It's a rigged game. It's just not rigged against you, and that's fine. But be honest about the fact that it's rigged against other men. And other men, according to their own morals. Now, to me, nobody has a right to go tricking. I don't see it that way for religious reasons. It's nothing personal. But at the end of the day, we have to be honest. It's a rigged game. And this rigged game, just because it's not rigged against you, doesn't mean that everybody else is just inept because they lose it. It's rigged. Of course, you can be game tight and still lose. Matter of fact, you probably will lose if you're game tight. I know, bro. I've been there. I've been that dude that's selected and unselected. I've been both. I'm that dude that gets blamed for things that other men did. You're the guy that can do these. You can do these broads dirty, multiple times in a row. You can do that. You may never hear about how bad of a dude you are, or you may hear about it. I'm the one that hears about how bad all men are because of what you can do and get away with it. What they allow you to do, I'm the one that has to hear about how bad it is. You're the one who can go and you can tell all kinds of lies and everything else. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, sir. You're the one that can do all of these things. I'm the one who, before it even gets to that point, I gotta hear about what other men did and what kind of wall she has up to scale and for me to scale. So this is why it is that I look at a lot of you all and I say you're worth listening to, but you cannot be followed. The dumbest thing we could do is follow you. Thank you all for listening. I don't know when I'm going to go live again, but I have not forgotten you all. I got to go and I'm not going to be interrupted. Till that day, thanks for listening. Black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction of judgment day.